Morning, y'all. Thanks for coming out. I think you see the reason we're here. We're having lines throughout the county, unfortunately. I went to my precinct this morning up in Johns Creek, 2 hours and 40 minutes to vote. There was a glitch. The poll workers weren't able to process the voters with the voter cards, couldn't get the voter cards to work. Turns out they just didn't have them in the machine on the right side. But it took them an hour to get that straightened out. And I mean, that's not an equipment issue, that's a training issue. And so I think that a lot of what we're seeing throughout our system right now in the county really is management issues. I'm hearing that equipment was delivered late, some of it's not charged up. The check-in folks aren't really clear about what to do. I think we've worked through a lot of that after our rocky start, and hopefully things will go smoother. But you know, standing in line for 2.5 hours and talking to a lot of folks with my mask on, the majority of folks I heard had applied for an absentee ballot and it was never processed, and I don't really have an answer for why that happened. It's very disappointing.
Who do you hold accountable for this?
Well, I mean, you know, I have to say it goes back to our Fulton County management.
In particular, who?
I'm not going to call names, but you know, the elections division was in charge of processing those applications. I mean, it's been widely reported that half of the emails applications that were received were lost. I don't know how to explain that. It's another black eye for Fulton County, in my opinion, and we've worked really, really hard over the last 2 cycles to get our operations to where we could depend on it and smoother. We've got new equipment, of course that's going to be a struggle. We've got a pandemic, of course that's a struggle. We've had civil unrest, which adds to the tension in our community. But it's not an equipment failure in this situation. It's a management issue, not processing the absentee ballot applications and then not having the equipment in a way that was ready to go, not having workers that were ready to go when the polls opened. So I hope that people don't get discouraged. I hope they'll still wait. I think it's important and it's worth it. And I just hope that people have a little bit of patience and they endure a couple hours to vote. It's not happening in every location, thank goodness.
Is it happening in other counties that you've heard?
I
don't think it's alone though. It's a problem just in Fulton County.
Well, maybe so. All I can tell you about is Fulton County.
What can be done today to fix this issue?
I think that the technical glitches have been addressed. I think that the voting is ongoing now. You know, if a machine's not charged up, surely they're charging them. The equipment is there. I've seen some really small rooms that are trying to pack in a lot of folks. To me, adjustments should have been made along those lines as well to try and keep people distance and to accommodate the large crowds we've had since we've had to combine precincts. So I'm hearing that there's going to be an effort to extend the poll an hour or 2. I think there'll be an update from the elections department this afternoon along those lines. That's unfortunate too, because it just takes the results even longer to get for folks, for the candidates. But unfortunate situation.
Can you state your name, please?
Liz Hausman, District 1 Commissioner.
We have heard reports from other counties that they're having similar issues with the equipment, just getting familiar with them and getting them going. What does that say about the rollout of the new machines, that it's happening not only in Fulton County but other counties, maybe not to the extent, but still happening?
Again, I can't speak to any other county. I'm hearing that the equipment is working fine. It's, you know, it's technical problems such as not having them charged. You know, that's not the equipment's fault. I can't speak to anything other than what I'm seeing in Fulton.
You work between the counties and Fulton and the Secretary of State's office, correct?
I do, but that was for, you know, until today. I'm in Fulton County today. They've got folks at other places throughout the state.
And as far as the process of getting the poll workers up to date on the new machines, talk about how the Secretary of State's office worked with the counties to try to train people.
Oh my goodness, there's videos, there's a ENET system that has every instruction, every form, everything that has to do with processing this election has been clearly spelled out to the elections workers. I think the training has been very robust, very robust.
What kind of impact do you think that this will have on the election, I guess in a more broad context?
Well, I mean, I'm seeing interest. You see the people back here behind us. I think folks are going to make it a point to vote this time. I really do. I have heard stories in North Fulton of people leaving, getting frustrated and having to leave for whatever reason, but hopefully they'll come back.
Have you reached out to the elections director about sending out provisional ballots to precincts so people can vote in writing?
Oh, all the precincts do have provisional ballots. The precinct that I was telling you about that I waited, they had the hour where they couldn't get the electronic cards to take. They were voting on provisional ballots at that location.
I don't know if there's any here or not.
And you mentioned some crowding.
They don't have them here?
I don't know. I asked people.
Well, they wouldn't be doing it now if the machines are up and running.
At the location I was at earlier, they did not have it.
What location was that?
Candler Park.
Is that Fulton or DeKalb? It's DeKalb, yeah. See, I can't speak to that.
And you mentioned some, attempts to crowd into smaller rooms. To what extent is the virus, impacting, our ability to kind of, I guess, go with the flow in the situation?
Well, I mean, the measures are in place that will add a little bit of time to normal if there wasn't a crowd, okay? You have to be distanced and you have to wait and all the things. The stylus that was cleaned between every voter and wiping down the machine. So all that takes time. And I expected that. But it's when you have a technical problem that's really a training issue that has an opening delay. It's going to set the tone for the rest of the day that people are going to be waiting in line.
And what are some of the things that you think maybe should have been done that weren't in this case?
Obviously more training. In my opinion, the room setups, clearly spelled out, and multiple things I've seen perhaps weren't done that way. Small rooms. You can't combine precincts and keep the rooms small. I would think you would combine precincts in locations that could accommodate more people. So those are the kind of things that I question.